Hello, my name is Sarah. Welcome to the It is a Sarah podcast. In today's episode, I want to share my handwerk perikelen, which is a Dutch word for my creative adventures from this week with you. I'm coming to you from the Netherlands, so excuse my Dutchy English. Hello. I am on my morning walk, and as you probably can see, it is a rainy one. Lucky me, I brought my umbrella. It is really a rainy day. Today in the Netherlands, it is Thursday, June 4. Normally, I try to avoid the rain if possible, but today it was not really possible, so we are doing a walk anyway. Bobby doesn't really like the rain. I don't complain about it. I don't like raining, soaking wet, but on the other side I have my umbrella, so I won't be wet. I am practicing with filming in the wild, and I'm actually on a spot which is normally pretty busy, but because of the rain today not, and that gives me the opportunity to film right here and to tell you a little bit about my outfit. I think it's really fun to share more about what I'm wearing, especially because I'm wearing oldies. Specifically, the oldies can be very interesting to share about because you have some wearing experience, which might add interesting thoughts to your handmade garments, my handmade garments at this way. Oh, someone else is coming running. I'm really practicing. Okay, let's start on top. I am wearing a tee, which I knitted in 2022, and I didn't use a pattern. And that was really quite exciting for me, especially by that time. I had very strong thoughts that knitting was so difficult. I would never be able to knit something without a pattern. And in 2021, 2022, I tried a few things. I was experimenting. I even was thinking about eventually becoming a knitting designer. I did let go that idea pretty quick because that's not what I am and also not what I want to be. I don't have the talent, I guess. So, but still, I was very happy I played because I love playing and adding Sarah sauce. So I did do that with this tee. It is knitted bottom up. I am kneeling down because someone is running behind me. It is knitted bottom up. Which actually is not my favorite way of doing, but it was the most easiest way. Knitting top down without a pattern, I think it's still too challenging for me. But I don't know if that's really too challenging or if it's only a thought. But I have never done that before, I guess. Knitting in the round with no pattern is a little bit more easy because you can just search for a pattern in your library, knit it in the same yarn weight, and you know, hey, there's the sun. There's the sun, and you know how many stitches you need to cast on. So I did cast on, I don't know the numbers exactly, but after a few rounds of knit to purl to, I did one round of purling, which gives a nice little border, a nice little line between the ribbing and the stockinette. Then it was just stockinette all over, and I knitted a lower neckline. I really prefer lower necklines. I feel better in it. I prefer the look of that fit on me more. Since a few months I see more and more patterns with lower necklines, but when I just started knitting it was mainly round yokes, high necklines, so it actually forced me to play a little bit with it. I'm really happy with how it is, and I really love to wear this t-shirt. I made the sleeves also pretty long for a short sleeve t-shirt. It is a fitted one. And I did the same with this little purling round, which gives an accent between the stockinette and the knit to purl to. I really love that. I knitted with Lang Yarns Angelina. It was gifted to me by Lang Yarns, and it is a very interesting yarn. It is actually a silk thread. It's a DK worsted weight yarn. It's a silk thread, which is undyed. It is white, and around that silk thread is some fuzzy merino yarn, and it gives it a little bit of a marled effect, which I really like and I really love. And also it is very nice to wear on my skin. I am wearing a tank top under it, but it is not itchy at all. Even I feel quite warm right now. It is rainy, but it's not very cold. I think it's around 20 degrees, and yeah, it's not itchy at all. And also it is merino, so it does peel a little bit, but it's a nice layer of fuzz and not a disturbing one. So I am really happy with how this came out, and I wear this every summer, spring, summer and autumn quite a lot. So I'm so proud I made something myself, which actually works, even 4 years later. So the other handmade thing is a sewn skirt, which is also one of my favorites, and that's mainly because of the fabric. I found this fabric in a thrift store many years ago, and that was absolutely a heart-jumping moment. It is quite challenging for me to find the exact combination of colors and fabrics that I really like. I think I have a little bit of a hard taste. Quite often I cannot really exactly find what I want. So it's really helping me that I am able to make a lot of garments myself right now. But still, when it comes to sewing, the color combinations, which I really love, are so hard to find. So it was really exciting when I found this fabric. It is a corduroy fabric with a black and green check. It was only a limited amount, and that's the reason why this skirt is on the short side. I couldn't really make a pattern out of it. I do have pockets, so there was a little bit left for pockets, but it's really just one straight piece of fabric with a waistband, with some elastic, some easy pockets, and that's all. And although it is a little bit on the short side, I really am wearing it so much. I made it also 3 years ago. I don't know. I don't have notes for my sewing yet. So really happy. I love the color combination. Yeah, it's just one of my favorite items. I'm also wearing hand knitted socks, which you hardly can see. I'm wearing rain boots. I walk a lot through the grass, which is very wet right now. I don't really like rain boots. I also found them in the thrift store. They were high, but I cut the upper part off, so you can see my woolen socks a little bit. I am wearing very old woolen socks. I will show you. I don't know if I am able to stand for a longer time on one foot, but we will try. These are my On Defense socks. I knitted them in January 2020. It's a free pattern on Ravelry from Anna Lange. I don't know from which country she is, and I don't know how to pronounce her name exactly. And it was part of the Free Socks 2020, which was hosted by Kia from Kia's Boat podcast, a Swedish knitter and podcaster. I participated. It was such a lovely idea. She searched for all the beautiful free patterns on Ravelry, and every month we knitted together one of those patterns. And the On Defense socks from Anna Lange were the first socks, the January socks. I didn't complete the whole year round because it was quite time consuming, all the interesting sock knitting patterns, and that was also the year I only knitted socks for 2 years by then. It was also the year I realized that I am not a very exciting sock knitter. No, that's not how you say it. I don't need exciting things in my socks. I really prefer my socks to be easy peasy. Something nice can happen in the colors, in the yarn. But pattern-wise, structure-wise, or color work-wise, I don't know. When they are on my feet, you don't really see them. So I prefer to use those techniques in upper parts, upper layers, which are more visible. And I love my socks to be plain, and they are an easy on-the-go project. But I did have fun. The thing with these socks, they are not my favorite. This was my first time knitting color work in the sock. There is some color work under the cuff and also in front of the toes. And I was not really a very experienced sock knitter, also not a color work in sock knitter. So there is something wrong with my tension. It is quite tight right here, and I don't really like that. The other thing is I knitted with Lange yarn wool, which is not my favorite sock yarn, and that's because it is a little bit thinner, I guess. It is a fingering weight, and I don't know the exact yardage by head, but I think it's a little bit thinner than a lot of other fingering weight yarns. And because I am a loose knitter, it always looks a little bit messy, and yeah, I don't like that. I knitted my socks on 2.25 millimeter needles by then. Now I knit them on 2 millimeter needles. So my sock knitting journey I was still exploring my favorite sock settings, and they can change all the time. So they look a little bit loose and a little bit messy. But still, I am wearing them anyway. I try to alternate. I have my favorite socks, but I try to change, and I try to wear them all to give them some attention, because I really had fun making them. And it was really, I was a beginner knitter by then. So it was, I think, 2020 was a little bit of the turning point when I really became a knitter. I started knitting in 2018, and I could knit before, but I was mainly a crocheter, and then I discovered continental knitting, which was a match. It clicked, and suddenly I could knit. I was able to knit, and the shift from being a crocheter to being a knitter, and also a crocheter, but mainly a knitter, was, I think, in 2020. So in that time. So yeah, those memories, the experience of developing a new skill, successful, because before that my knitting skills were mainly a big frustration, but that's also catched in this pair of socks. So I feel that when I wear them. So they might not be perfect, but still they have a good energy in them, and we like that. I'm also wearing a crochet headband, which I forgot to check the pattern. It's made from cotton, also thrifted, and it's really a long one. If I can find a project page of this headband, I will share the link down below. Also the link of my t-shirt and my socks. If I can find a project page of my headband, I will share a link to it in my show notes. I will also do that with my socks and my tee. Every now and then I also added a link to a specific episode when I talked about a finished item, and I saw that I did do that with this tee. So if you want to hear 2022 Sarah chatting a little bit more about it, my English by then was way more Dutchy than now. My English is still not pretty good, but it's good enough. I know. I am okay with it. But in 2022, I was really struggling with making episodes in English. So be prepared. There might be quite a big level of Dutchy English and an insecure Sarah. I haven't watched it back myself. I don't feel the need, but if you are interested, it might be fun. So, okay, that was it for today. I see some blue skies, but also some grey at the right. So we will finish our walk. We will go home and pick up our knitting. I have a problem with my knitting today. I am knitting something for my cousin. I have a baby shower this week. She is expecting a little baby girl, and I was so happy I could knit her, the baby girl, a cardigan. A pink cardigan, and I had so much fun knitting it, but I discovered a very big mistake this morning, or actually yesterday evening. And now I have errors all over because I want to fix that mistake, but if I do, I cannot finish it in time. So I didn't know what to do, so instead of that I started knitting baby socks. So I do have a present this Sunday, and I think I will fix the mistake anyway and give the little cardigan later. But that was not a heart jumping moment, I can tell you that. Okay, see you later. Hello! Today it is Monday, June 8, 2026 and I finished my wildflower top and I want to share all the details with you today. The wildflower top is a new design by Ronja Hakaleto. She's a Finnish knitting designer, pattern is in English, and it will be released coming Thursday, June 11. I was a test knitter and I really enjoyed knitting this top so much. It is all over lace and cables, and I think knitting lace and cables is one of my favorite things to do besides color work. I don't know, it looks always quite overwhelming, quite difficult, especially when I was a beginner knitter or even when I was not a knitter. I was really impressed by the look of lace and cables. And I know now that knitting lace and cables is not as difficult as it looks. It does ask some attention when I start such a project. And I really need to keep my administration. I really need to write down which row of a chart I am, because otherwise I will be confused. I have a tearing eye. I'm sorry, I think it's a hay fever thing. I'm not sad, I'm actually really happy. Oh, tears of happiness. Heart jumping tears. So the moment I saw this top, I knew I wanted to knit it. It's a top-down top in a DK weight yarn. I use Drops Bell. This is my leftover. My top weighs exactly 200 grams. So I used 4 50-gram balls of Drops Bell in the color 25. It is a cotton viscose linen mix. I really love to work with it. The yarn is a little bit of a splitty yarn. It is not bothering me while I'm knitting. I worked quite a lot on it when it was pretty warm 2 weeks ago, and I really love working with plant fiber yarns. I prefer the woolly yarns, but not when temperatures are above 25 degrees. This was actually feeling so nice in my hands and on my lap, so it was the perfect summer knit. It is 50 gram, 125 meters, so it's a DK / worsted weight, but I think more a DK weight, and that makes this quite a quick knit. I swatched. I'm not a swatcher, but because I am a test knitter, I swatched. And I know now again that swatching in my knitting life doesn't make any sense. I really understand the benefits of swatching when it would work how it's supposed to be. But my swatch is absolutely not the same as my knitting. So yeah, it is okay because I'm happy with how it turned out, but it doesn't make sense. The same needles. My swatch is way bigger than my actual fabric, actual gauge in my knitting project. I followed the instructions for swatching and it was okay. Then I started knitting. The recommended needles are 4mm for the main fabric and 3mm needles for the ribbing. I always go down 1 needle size, so I used 3mm for the fabric, the main fabric, and 2.5mm needles for the ribbing. I knitted Drops Bell before with the same needle size and that worked pretty good. I got gauge in my swatch and I was happy with the fabric, so I started. And when I was knitting it looked a little bit narrow, but there is something with plant fiber because I just started wearing this today, and when I made my measurements for my notes, I was so wrong with my bust circumference because I tested size 3, which has a 95cm bust circumference. My finished item after blocking, that's also recommended, measure your blocking, your gauge after blocking, was 80cm. 40cm, and I doubled it because it was a double layer. 80cm, and I thought that's 15cm less. That's 10cm of negative ease on my 90cm bust. But it also was not feeling as if that was correct because I still had some positive ease right here. So I was wearing it for an hour filming my Dutch episode, and then I thought, okay, let's measure again. Oh, doorbell's ringing. One moment, please. Okay, here we are again. So after wearing it for 1 hour, I took it off and measured it again. And instead of 40 centimeters, my measurements grow to 43 centimeters. When I double it, it makes a bust circumference of 86 centimeters. 6 centimeters extra in just 1 hour of wearing. So I am so confused right now. I think it has to do with the effect washing and blocking has on blend fiber based yarns. And still, I cannot really believe my measurements are correct, because this doesn't feel like 4 centimeters of negative ease. It still feels as if it is something different. I have positive ease right here, and around my bust, yeah, I don't know, but it's okay. I love the fit, so it's okay. But it's a little bit confusing which size I need to pick next time. I remember me knitting my Sunday swirl last year, and I picked a bigger size, and it is quite big on me. And I think I love to wear it, but it is a little bit too oversized, more as I expected it to be. This one is smaller as I expected this to be. So I think knitting with this kind of yarn adds a little bit of excitement to my knitting life, because I don't really know what to expect. It will be a surprise. So yeah, I don't know if that's a good thing or it's only my thing, but lucky me, I'm happy with the outcome. The WildFlower top is a top-down knitted top. You start at the back, knitting the back panel, then you pick up stitches for the front panels. The neckline is quite high. I prefer a lower neckline, and I think it's pretty easy to adjust this pattern to a lower neckline, but I didn't do that because I was test knitting it and because I thought, let's try a high neckline. I don't have summer tops with high neckline, so I thought, let's give it a try. I'm wearing it for a little while now and it feels okay. I think I still prefer the lower one, but I don't complain, it feels okay. The way you can adjust it is just at some point you start increasing, and you do that for a few rows, and then you connect the left and the front by adding a certain amount of stitches. You can start the increases a few pattern repeats later if you want your neckline lower. That's not a really hard thing to do. So I think I will do that next time, but I'm okay with the outcome right now. Yeah, knitting the lace and the cables was so much fun to do. The cables are very small, so I could knit them without a cable needle, which is time saving, I guess. And also the lace, yeah, it is relaxing and exciting at the same time. At some point you start knitting in a round, and from that point I didn't need my chart or notes or whatever. The only thing is, it was flying off my needle, so I knitted it a little bit longer than I planned and then I normally knit my tops. I knitted 29 centimeters and normally I stop with 20. Yeah, it's if I want a cropped thing or a longer thing, but it's, I think between 25 and 27 centimeters is my normal go-to, not 29. And I also needed to add ribbing after that 29 centimeters. So at one point I thought, okay, am I going back or will I leave it this way? Because I really love to tuck in my tops in my skirts. I love to wear my skirts high-waisted. And normally I don't have much fabric left, but this way, with this long top, I still have enough fabric left, so I can tuck a little bit more. I don't know if tucking is the right word, but so I think I'm okay with this. I need to wear it a little bit longer to decide if I will do that next time in another top as well, or this was just a try for once. But I'm happy I didn't have to go back. Yeah. Really lovely summer top. It was my first Ronja Hakaleto pattern. I have a few in my library. I really love her style, but I never started one. I also have her book, and I am really motivated to knit more of her patterns. I really love the look. I'm very happy with it. So I absolutely recommend this pattern. Yeah, I had another little knitting challenge this week. I am knitting a baby cardigan. I had a baby shower yesterday. It was my plan to give the baby cardigan as a gift to my cousin, but I made a big mistake, and I deep dive into the mistake and all the things which I was thinking about, all the perfectionism and all that kind of stuff in my Dutch episode. So if you are interested in that, please watch the Dutch one. Subtitles are available. If you miss subtitles in a specific language, please let me know and I will add them. But I ripped out the whole cardigan because of the mistakes in the increasing rows. I'm pretty close to finishing the body for the second time. I only need to bind off, and I will use the Icelandic bind off. I discovered another mistake this morning. And I decided that I am an imperfect perfectionist because this time I won't fix it. It is in the border. It's a lovely edge of the garter stitch, and I missed a stitch at one point. I don't know if you can see it. It's very visible when it's laying flat, but there's not a hair on my head, which is thinking about knitting it over for the third time. I'm really happy it's almost finished. Lovely jacket. I'm very happy I can do some baby knitting. I knitted banana socks instead, so I still had a little handmade gift, but I hope to finish this one this week as well. Yeah. This was it for today. I hope you enjoyed this episode. Thank you for watching. Thank you for being here. I wish you a wonderful week filled with a lot of heart jumping moments. If you can't find them, create them because we need them. Bye bye.